3, 2, 1,
Bingo! That's right. Felons Ain't Failures Podcast back in the building. This your boy, Coach Chuck. I sound like I'm on the radio. I'm going to improv. I'm going to break us up and everything.
Please do.
It's your boy, Coach Chuck, the podcast pastor. And we got a special guest in the building. As y'all can see, my comrades ain't with me. They sitting over there, but they ain't behind this mic with me. So I got a special guest on, and I know she's not going to disappoint. You know, because this woman got some stuff in her. She been through some stuff, and she got some stuff to pour out. All right, so I ain't going to get into no long introduction because I seen some stuff on her Facebook page that we're going to pull out. But let's welcome beautiful Miss Kenya Allen.
Hello. Hey, everybody. Excited to be here.
We are excited to have you. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. It's an amazing day. I'm awake. I'm alive.
That's right.
Breathing. I feel good.
Okay.
And yeah, God is good.
He is. Now we got a little thing we do.
Okay.
That before we really get into what we're gonna do.
Okay.
We talk about our day. So tell us about your week. Tell us about your day. What's going on?
Ooh.
Just how was your week?
Oh,
What happened?
Hey.
Any excitement? Let's go. Talk
I
about
like
it.
that. I like
right?
that a
Because
lot.
you know we don't spend enough time celebrating the small wins. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? 'Cause,
Wow.
Yeah, we call them minor.
Now,
But
see,
they
that just
small
boosts me.
wins.
That just
Well, let's
boosts
go.
me with being here. Yes. Hey, so today was phenomenal.
Okay.
However, my week been phenomenal. I get to do what I love doing.
Mm-hmm.
I get compensated for doing it. And I'd probably do it if I didn't get paid. And so I spend my entire week, it's an amazing feeling, pouring into individuals. And it makes my week go by so amazingly purposeful,
Mm-hmm.
I should say. I get to
You know
pour
we
into
love that word here.
Right. I know
That
I've
P
seen
word,
it. I
yeah.
watched a couple of broadcasts. I know you guys do. But yeah, it's my week has been, and that's how it's been since December. Every day has been a day. I share with the people that's a part of my journey currently that I get to pour into and make a difference in. I share with them on Fridays how most jobs you go to, and I'm not on a job, I'm in a role. That's what
Okay.
I've realized. And most jobs, when you clock out to leave everything there, right?
Mhm.
I'm not taking work home. I'm not taking, and I stand before them on Fridays and I say to them, I take y'all home every day with me. I do. I go home and I say, how can I make this person better? What can I do tomorrow to impact this person? I do that every day and it's not a burden.
Mm.
I do it joyfully and willingly, and it feels amazing.
And that's because you love to do it.
Yeah.
You know that good book we live by. It talks about whether it's life or death, height, anything, nothing can separate us from love. You know, and you take that home
Yeah,
because you love it.
I do.
You love what you do. And that's one of the keys to having longevity at something in life, to being excited, to getting up and going with everything you got, is when you find something that you love to do.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's an amazing space to be because a lot of people ain't found that yet.
It's been a long time coming.
But we're going to get them now.
We're going to get them there.
Yeah, we're gonna give them the roadmap
Yes.
and the blueprint, right?
Yes.
Right, but
yes.
listen, we got to get off on something because I was, a real journalist supposed to do all their homework and all that. I didn't have nothing ready that I want to journalize you about, but when I had one on your Facebook page, something stood out to me, and I love it because one of our taglines is "Purpose never dies."
Amen.
So a part of what we stand on, we got a sign that even says that. D-Moss posted that today. A part of what we stand on is that purpose never dies. That
I like that.
no matter where you are in life,
I like that.
no matter
a lot.
where you've been in life, no matter how old you are, how many mistakes you made, how much time you've done, how much time you doing, purpose never dies. There's something that you will put her to do, and you can do it the day before you leave this earth and fulfill that purpose. So when I looked on this magnificent Facebook page, and you said that it says that you are a purpose evoker. Talk about that.
Woo! So that's easy for me to talk about. That's crazy because I just got through sharing with my first initial life coach client.
Shout out
today.
to that. Hold on. We got to celebrate it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. We working on this soundboard too. We got two
I
sounds.
shared with him that some of the things you just said, like, so I shared with him that we've been taught that 10,000 hours, right? If you spend 10,000 hours doing anything, you become an expert in it,
Yeah,
right?
that's what they say.
Well, purpose is a topic that God thrust me into
Okay.
in 2012. And I've spent a lot of years, a lot of time praying, fasting, seeking what that really means, right? And so in 2017, May of 2017, coming off a fast, God said to me, "You my purpose Lamar's instructor." I say, "What's that? What that mean?" He say, "Now y'all, when you have a personal relationship, right? You got a relationship with God. He
Correct.
talked to all of us different, right? He said, 'You got 7 babies. You know what Lamar's mean?'" I say, "And do. I do. I do." He said, "But I want you to go study. I want you to study what happens to a woman's body when she conceives." And I spent about 30 days studying. Listen, I have 7 children, but I had no idea what our bodies go through when we conceive a child. And so he told me, "What I need you to do henceforth is give your time, energy, and focus to invoking that thing within a person." Because everybody, you just said it, y'all said it, this is why we're in so much alignment.
Mm-hmm.
We all come here with it. I don't believe we have to search for it.
Okay.
I believe we come here with it and we just discover.
Oh, I like that.
Because it's already in us, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because that's not taught to us early on, we don't know nothing about discovering what's on the inside of us. And so we spend all these years out here just doing whatever, whenever, however, and can be in love with God and still not know.
Yeah.
So he told me he's gifted me. He's put something on the inside of me that if you spend enough time in my presence,
Mm-hmm.
it'll be evil.
Because you're an addict for God's presence. That's what your Facebook says.
I am. And so when you spend that kind of time in his presence,
Yes.
right? I just carry it. I carry something that when I get around people, and I do it so naturally, Charles, like I do it without even desiring or wanting to. I evoke that thing that's in you that you were created to do. And so now God has taken me on a journey since 2012 of how I go about to cultivate, right?
Mm-hmm.
How to evoke that within somebody.
Cultivate, that's key, because that's a word that we threw out today in our topic.
Wow.
I want to unpack something,
Okay.
because I love this. You talked about how they say when you 10,000 hours make you an expert at something. You being a purpose evoker, this podcast stands on business that purpose never dies. One thing that I gathered from that when you spoke it was, and I think people need to hear this, and we're going to unpack it for them to understand it, that you don't have to be an expert at your purpose. Okay, so because a lot of people feel
That's
like
good.
the qualifications to walk in purpose, because if you listen, especially today's is so entrepreneur generated.
Yes.
We talk about you be the expert at something, you make money and all that. But when we talk about the original reason that we here, you don't have to be an expert. You just
Absolutely
have to be.
not.
Now you said one thing now. You talked about you love being in God's presence, and you being in God's presence, God reveals certain things to you. So when we talk about for people who want to know, well, if I don't have to be an expert, how do I get in purpose? First of all, you put yourself in a position. You put yourself in a position to hear and to see what it is that you've been called to do.
Yeah.
So if you pay attention to your life, and that's why the older we get, it's so important that we look at our experiences. When you pay attention to your life and you look at the things, don't look at what you've been through. Look at what you attracted. You understand what I'm saying? Because old folks used to say, if you see a problem, God didn't show you that problem for you to talk about it. He showed you that problem for you to fix it.
Absolutely.
So when you start, for those who listening, when you start saying, okay, how do I find my purpose? Start looking for some identifying factors and look at the things that you attracted.
Yes.
Look at the people you attracted.
Yes.
Look at the things you are compassionate about.
Yes.
And I like that. I like that because the world teaches us you got to become an expert at something. We're saying You don't have to be an expert at nothing.
No.
You have to be open and willing and in a position where you can pursue that thing.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that. I love that.
I love it. I love it. And those of y'all, we need y'all to get involved. We need some engagement. We need y'all to comment. We need y'all to like. We need y'all to share and get involved in this conversation.
Yeah.
Because I know we finna go somewhere real deep. So, hold on. Oh, I'm trying to do this from the phone. You got another thing on here because it's gonna tie together. I like this. You got another thing.
Listen, I'm ready. I already know. I already know.
Not only are you an addict of God's presence,
Mm-hmm.
and people have to understand that being in God's presence, that is because what we have to do, because now we finna get real.
Okay.
Because you and I are on the same page, that we are so elevated from organized religion.
Woo.
The big we gonna say it with grace.
Let's
But you and I on the same page as what a lot of people. And I'm not saying that it doesn't work, it's no good. I'm saying we are so elevated from above organized religion that we understand God in different ways, in more ways in deeper ways than he was presented.
Yes.
So when we talk about, as you mentioned, you're addicted to being in God's presence,
Yes.
that means you're addicted to being in a place of peace.
I
All right?
love it.
Yeah. So now finding purpose, dealing with purpose, is getting yourself to a place of peace.
Yes.
God is love. You're addicted to God's presence. And we're doing this because we want to deliver them from the churchology
Yes,
of it.
yes,
And understand God in his initial presence
Yeah.
is everything. When you say you're addicted to it, you're addicted to the peace, to the love, to the joy, and all those things
Woo.
there. But then, not only that,
Break it all the way
you
down.
you evoke purpose,
Mm-hmm.
you make it come out.
Mm-hmm.
But then you say you're a greatness extractor.
Woo.
And I don't know if people understand what extracting is, but unpack that a little bit. Let's talk about that.
He going there, y'all. He going there.
I mean, you said it.
I love it.
And I
though.
knew it
I
could be
love
you.
every bit.
So we got
of
to talk
it.
about it.
So I guess it goes right back to when we talk about being the evoker. That probably is the next step. Now that I've evoked that thing in you, right? Then God has graced me, gifted me to be able to pull it out. So I sat with this new client today, and not only was he in awe, I was in awe with the things that were coming out my mouth. Because now I've invoked, I can see the shift in him. I can feel the shift in him. And then now I'm pulling. So what I've learned is that if I have a conversation with you one-on-one, right, I'm going to create the space, not to give you my insight or what I think or feel or how, but I'm going to create the space to pull out of you what's already there. So greatness already in him, right? He just needs the space.
Right.
To pull it out. So he started saying stuff that shocked himself because I could see it in his eyes, right? He would say something that he didn't even realize was in there. But because I set the atmosphere right, I set it up, it started flowing out. So that greatness came out. He left me better today than when he arrived.
I got to stop you. Do y'all hear this?
I do.
These words she using? And we talked about good, better, and greater. Now, you know how we used to go to church and people be like, "Well, he was all in my business today."
Yes.
You don't even understand the stuff that you sitting up here
Ooh,
saying.
won't he do it?
Y'all got to go and watch our podcast on emotional mastery.
We also talked about how in therapy or life coaching, sometimes just having the conversation, you impress yourself.
Yeah.
I left there saying, I told him because I'm okay with that. And I told him, like, not only were you you came here to hear from me, but I heard from you today.
Emotional intelligence.
I heard from you today, and it elevated me. It ain't. I went there knowing this, not even knowing what our because I didn't go there knowing that this guy was now going to hire me as his life coach. I didn't know that. I went there and I just wanted to be present because I sensed we've had other conversations, but it's been months, right?
Yeah.
And I knew he had to have a conversation. So, yeah, it was not only once they evoke that you got to pull it out of them. That greatness has to come out of them.
And I think that's key that you say that because I believe that a lot of people still feel that they can extract their own greatness. And it is impossible for you to pull your own greatness out of yourself. There's always somebody, something that comes into your life and that holds the charge and assignment to pull it out. Something else we was talking about today when we was dealing with emotional intelligence and things like that. We was talking about how powerful partnerships is, whether it's what we call it ships, whether it's a partnership, a relationship, a friendship
Absolutely.
or a connection, anything like that.
Absolutely.
And you even spoke to that just then, that the greatness, even what he experienced today, was not a result of his own prayer. You know what I'm saying? He didn't get up.
Right.
He didn't get up from prayer and felt the way he felt.
No.
It's a result of y'all connection, and you pulled that thing out of him. So it's important because I know a lot of us on the fast track that we want better lives and this and that and this and that. But it's important that we got to realize that there are people, there are relationships, there are connections, there are friendships that has to be in place.
Yes.
In order for us to experience the greatness, because I'm finna bring it to you now. All right? Because you come into this life coach thing. Some guy have been dealing with your heart for a long time.
Long time.
A relationship that you established with somebody a long time ago that you support into the life is the same person that God used to confirm to you what it's time for you to do now. And not only did he confirm it, he got it started. You know, we ain't got to get too much into what y'all got planned. You know, that's on you. But he took a relationship that was established and connected a long time ago, and you managed that relationship because you said y'all ain't talked in 3 or 4 months. But still, the times y'all talk and the connection y'all have, you managed that relationship so well that God took that same relationship and used that relationship to confirm and get you started with what's next in your life. And it's just, we almost should have just had you on the show today because I'm serious, because we were talking about how we switch up seasons so much. We say, well, that's the end of a season for a relationship.
Yeah.
And because you hadn't talked to this guy in 3 or 4 months, you could have just been like, when he invited you to have coffee, you could have been like, I got a podcast to shoot today. Let's reschedule. Look what you would have missed.
Yeah.
You know, understand what I'm saying? If you had not still managed, part of you managed that relationship was, even though you had something to do, he needed to speak with you.
Yeah.
When it wasn't necessarily he needed to speak with you, you needed him to speak to you.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So
Oh man, let me
let's
put
go.
a plug in because I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you and the things that you're saying. And one of the things I prayed about this morning, even when I prayed for you guys, not knowing who I was going to come here and see what this experience was going to be like, but that we would be in such alignment that we would just flow, right? I'm good at speaking, so that's not ever a thing for me, but I don't want to be just speaking, right? I want it to be impactful, meaningful, purposeful. And so a couple of the things you said, I'm sitting there thinking like, wow. So what you're doing right now is extracting greatness from me. So I looked and I say, Felons Ain't Failure Podcast is currently taking my greatness to the next level. So you pulling it out of me because your engagement is causing me to go deep and pull out without preparation. Right?
Yeah.
So that's and then what's crazy? I'm sitting here like, oh man, I'm supposed to be right here in this moment. Isn't it amazing to be in the moment where you're supposed to be at the time you're supposed to be? So all of this was predestined, even though we didn't know it. God had already planned to set it up and did it, right?
Yeah.
Because my conversation, he opened the conversation with the importance of managing relationships. That's what the young man opened our conversation with. He said, I realized that I need to do better at managing the relationships that help me. Or that I'm sitting there like, wow.
I don't know what we on to, but our topic today, listen now. Our topic today was emotional mastery, and we dealt with emotional intelligence, and emotional intelligence is recognizing, understanding, and managing your emotions and the emotions of the other party involved. And all we talked about was managing relationships. I'm about done.
So in closure, I
we
told
talked
him
about the right thing.
Absolutely, this is just confirmation. In closure with him, I said to him, I let him speak, and it's something that I've learned. I promise you, I've never experienced, and I've had coaches, and that's important that we have a coach.
Yes.
Not only are you a coach, but you have coach, but you want the right coach, right? I've paid people lots of money that couldn't coach me beyond where I was. And so the reason that I just went through this recertification because I wanted to do it differently and I wanted to do it better. So one of the things they use a lot is emotional intelligence. They teach very deeply on that. but allowing the client or the person or it doesn't even matter if it's a client, or not, allowing people the opportunity to be in the space. Like, let them be in. So that's why I say what I did for him was create an atmosphere that he could just be who he was.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Without
made him
judgment, without anything,
without
yeah.
anything. I ain't talking you insisted, like you just said. I could have found a whole reason, but I knew it was God. I can't even tell you why I knew. I just knew that I needed to start my day with Him, not knowing that I was gonna come here and get confirmation
And be late.
and be late. How's it him?
1 minute though, y'all.
He gonna see this. Hey, Jordy. Not just to come here and everything is just falling in. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Definitely. I mean, more than you know, more than they know. We know.
Y'all absolutely.
Because we was in war for an hour in here on these microphones talking about the same thing. So you just came and confirmed with each of us that as a podcast, like, we are on the right track.
Absolutely.
You know, because we've had conversations together, which is normal, about are we dealing with the right type of information? You know, we had those conversations there.
Yeah.
And you came in and you just confirmed with us that the stuff we choosing to talk about, as much as it may sound like we talking about it 2 and 3 times, we are talking about the right stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that. But now we got to get to some of that intrigue.
All right, let's do it.
We had a conversation.
We did.
Because this podcast, Felons Ain't Failure Podcast, it began with me because I'm a failure, I'm not a failure. And then God added my brother and my brother from another mother, and it just expanded it. But the original seed of it was me as a felon and that I wasn't a failure, and how I built my life after I got out of prison. You and I have a conversation, and we was talking because you have a son.
I do.
Also, that's a felon who.
Absolutely.
And let me say, like, she's known me all my life, and I'm surprised she haven't called me Little Charles. But
because I'm fighting it.
I've known her kids all their lives.
Yes.
You know what I'm
yes.
saying? From Doc to Bria to Brant to everybody, all those B's. Where that come from, I don't know. But so we have like a history that's beyond this camera and even beyond church and the Lord. That's before we even knew the Lord.
Right.
Our families were tied together. But you talked about this thing called prison moms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unpack it. Let's go. I ain't got to ask no questions. Let's talk about where it come from, what it's about. So
I'll probably digging deep back into this. Become a little emotional, but I'm so comfortable here. I'm home with family, so I feel good. And the reason being is that I haven't talked about prison mom. So let me say what prison mom is. So let me talk. So I have to talk about my son before I can talk about prison mom.
Let's go.
I have a son. He's my second born, my second son, and he's been to prison 7 times. He'll probably tell you 6 because one of them was a finish up something kind of thing. Yeah. So, but I call it 7 because he was gone, right? So
7.
For me, it was 7 times. And so on that journey of my son reoffending, going back to prison, man, he was never home. It started really, really young. And like, I think at 19 was the first time he went away. Mm-hmm. And so he would come home, he'd be home a few months, and he'd be right back in.
Yeah.
He'd come home, he'd be home, he'd be right back in.
Recidivism.
Yeah. I never heard that word, Teresa.
And we got an episode on that.
I'd never heard that word. And during my journey of this happening, I started to desire and seek support.
Okay.
Because I didn't have it. And as a mother, even your family don't understand what you're dealing with, right? When you have a child, not just went to prison, but continues. Because now you're looking at yourself, you're saying, I had to get this wrong somewhere with him. Like, what have, you know what I'm saying? So you start asking yourself, is it your fault? What have you done? What could you, because when they're raised all in the same house, like, why did he go left when, you know, so I kept asking. And I'm going to share a couple of things about him and what God has said to me. But so probably his 4th trip to prison. Now I'm tired. right? I'm tired. I'm wore out. But standing.
Mm-hmm.
There was never a time during any of his incarceration, his trips to jail, or that I felt like I wasn't gonna support him. I don't know, y'all. I hear that a lot. I see it a lot. That was not my story. That was not what God gave me to do, right? When that time came, God was very firm about turning him loose. However, I never ever, it was never a thought or a second thought. I ain't going to the jailhouse. I ain't taking no, that was never my story or my journey. So probably about his fourth, it was really weighing on me. And I started seeking support or other mothers that were probably dealing with the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so from that, Prison Mom was born. And the reason it was birthed because I felt like there needed to be some type of support for mothers, fathers too. But my focus was, I know it's some mamas out here dealing with what I'm dealing with. And mainly because of the things God had spoken to me personally about my son. And so what I was seeing didn't make sense to what God had said about him. And so I need some help. I need somebody to help me understand why this is. And so I started speaking with and sharing with other mothers, meeting, and us just supporting one another about how to get through this. There was mothers whose sons was way worse off than my son, right? And so we would find a way to support one another. How do we support each other through this, right? So then the journey got deeper. It for me, it was now I want to understand the prison system. I want to understand not just why my son is doing this, but what is it about this prison system that's not sending these guys back home better? Because that's what y'all say y'all gonna do. You're gonna help them get better.
Rehab them, yeah.
But now we understand. I understand from a personal experience, that's not what is happening at all. And man, so my son went back several more times after that. And I think it was his fifth journey to prison. He's been sentenced. He got to turn himself in. And I hire somebody because now I'm beating myself up. Like, this is getting ridiculous. Like, this is crazy. I want to know what it feels like from his perspective. So I hired somebody for 2 weeks to follow him around and record him in his rawest form. Like, I just want to know, like, what his life is like. What does he do on a date? You know what I'm saying? That. So of course he know the camera following. So of course he's not being completely authentic. However, he is that child that don't hold nothing back. It's probably the reason he's been in prison 7 times. But he's that child that don't hold anything back. So I hired this guy to follow my son around. And this is really from which Prison Mom was. I knew that this was something I needed to do, right? And he followed him around, I think 5 days he recorded. The night before he was to turn himself in, the guy sat down with his siblings and recorded how his sisters felt about it. Recorded how his brother felt about it. And I shared this with Charles when we met, that for me, I wanted to create some type of documentary that would be helpful and impactful for other guys or other that would watch this, right? Because what I learned from him doing this raw interviewing was that he hated this life, but he didn't know how to get out of it. He hated it. Like, I'd never seen him that raw and transparent. He talked about what it was like to be in there. He talked about how the people, the officers, the people spoke to you, made you feel like a piece of ish. He talked about all of that. And so I'm watching it, and I haven't watched it in years, you guys. And now I'm desiring to see it again because I did. I took that when I should have stayed focused on that. So thank you for having me here to talk about this because it's dear to my heart. And I took that information and the day that he turned himself in, the guy interviewed him, and the question, um, one of the questions he asked him sitting in front of my house in a chair with his daughter, who is now maybe 15, she was probably 3 or 4, standing next to his side. I still have the picture. One of the questions, the guy doing the video asked him was, your mom want to know, was this her fault? She's concerned with why you keep doing this, and he asked him to talk about it. And here's where freedom came for me. So my son said to the camera, if I had turned out how my parents had raised me, I'd be a doctor, a lawyer, or doing some great things. He said, but because of the decisions I made, I chose this path, and it had nothing to do with her. I started hanging with the wrong people, doing the wrong, and it had absolutely nothing to do with my upbringing. And at that moment, I knew that I had did.
You was released.
What I needed to do, and I was released from blaming myself. And so, Prison Mom was birthed to be a tool for mothers who are currently on this journey I've met because of what I experienced. I'm so grateful for a relationship with God, y'all. He is my everything. He make me who I am. When Charles talked about the being in his presence, I wouldn't know some of the stuff. There were times that God would thrust me into prayer for my son without even knowing what was happening at that moment, right? There have been times that I done had a whole dream about a situation that he'll come back and tell me that happened just like God showed it to me, right? And so I would see friends of mine with sons and see some of the same signs and symptoms that my son was displaying and attempt to grab hold to them and say, listen, let me holler at you. Grab your son. He's 13. He still has to listen to you. I'm seeing some stuff that if he continues on that path, it ain't going to be good for him. And I said, I'm not telling you from something I heard. I'm telling you from something I experienced. I have a friend whose son, who I had that particular conversation, and I've had many conversations. Some listen, some don't. That particular friend's son is doing life in prison right now, her only son. And you think if we had a prison mom support group or a prison mom something, not just for the mothers. Thank you, Los, for saying that. I don't know if that was before we started recording or after. That is not just whether they in, whether they out. Moms need support. And imagine Felons Ain't Failure Podcast having a time to share from a mother who's experienced, who has some wisdom, some words of wisdom, some things that could absolutely help your son not go through the same thing. So if we grab them when they much younger, and not saying because it ain't ever too late.
Never.
It ain't ever too late. I had an experience where I got to. I'm in the store, and it's because of everything I've gone through with my son. I'm in the store, and there's a mother in there with her son. He's probably 7 or 8 years old, and he stole something out the store, and the store didn't know it. Mm-hmm. When they got in the car, she seen it. So she brought him back into the store and told the store, but not to pay for it, but to have them call the police. And I was standing in line checking that, and I say, please don't do that. I say, please don't be the one that put your son in the system. Take him outside, beat his behind, do whatever you got to do. But I promise
Don't send him
you,
to jail.
you don't want to be the one to start that journey
Yeah.
in his life, right? But had I not gone through what I had gone through, had I not been even in a space where I wanted to have these conversations with mothers, I would have just saw that and went on about my business, right? So it's important. And so I get to sit, when you say it's not, it's never too late. I get to sit in the room, in a classroom, or sit before people right now. Most of them are adults. Hmm. Eh. I have a guy who just graduated our 3-week program, just finished doing 15 years, straight out of prisons. And I'm a key. Now, this is very prophetic right now because I didn't even realize the importance of my role. I do and I didn't. I understand even better now, so thank you for this podcast, for pulling out even more greatness. I get to sit with these people, and you said something, Charles, the first time we met, when I came in here a couple of weeks ago, and I took that and I ran with it, right? You said, felons ain't failures. The key thing you guys do is you attempt to say something that's going to, and I'm paraphrasing, right? You know, I ain't saying it like you said it. You know what I mean. All y'all gonna know, shared it with me, is to do something to their mind that shifts it, because that we know that's where it started, in the mind. So I took that, and not that some things we know, but we need to hear it different to be able to really apply it, right? And I ran with that thing. I said, and have repeated it several times to other people. It's about that happening. So when I look for guest speakers to come over, I'm looking for somebody that's going to say something. And not even knowing, I knew that, but you made it more clear, right? And so I get to sit before these people, and as a job coach, but coach, check that out, right? It's the first time I've had a title on a job with the word coach in it. You can't tell me that's coincidence. And I get to sit before these people, and it's my responsibility to help them get employed. But I have the opportunity, if it's just one word, that shifts something in their mindset that makes them leave us in 3 weeks, never wanting to return to that life.
Yes.
Knowing that it's not too late. I don't care. I got a guy in class, 68 years old. I got a guy in class right now, 20 years old, y'all, and you know what? I've gravitated toward him. 20, he's our youngest since I've been there. But it gives me the opportunity to say something. So I'm always mindful of that, saying something that would trigger something within inside of them to help them stay the course. So, yeah, prison moms, I'm excited about.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Thank you for.
We're gonna see this again, but it sounds like we're gonna get in some conversations about it.
Yeah.
But I know y'all couldn't feel it, but I felt it when they came in here. I appreciate you for being open.
Yeah,
You know, for being genuine and just giving us a glimpse of some of the stuff to come. But I want my felons to really pay attention. As she talked about prison moms, Plies made a song a long time ago called "Driving My Mama Crazy."
Yeah.
And we got an episode that we getting ready to shoot called "What Is Your Why?" Reason why you do what you do. Sometimes you may not have your life may not be a good enough why, but you just heard this mother, and I don't know what if you watch it again. I could hear when you was telling it. I heard how tired you was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like you was just telling your story, but you evoked the spirit that you had way back then. Like you tired.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, like, not that you want to give up. Like,
but tired.
how they talks about being weary. You know what I'm saying? And as felons, if you can't think about your life, even if your kids can't be a why, think about your mama. You know, y'all heard, and go back and watch and you'll pick up on what I said when she started talking about it, and you will see what you take your mama through, what we taking our mamas through. Because I've been to prison.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When we take y'all through that, and we think, you know how they say we ain't the only one doing time. Like
It's the truth.
It's
the truth.
I just felt that. I've never felt how real it was until you just told that story.
I just want to say that.
Say it to you.
I share it to I share that with individuals that I do get to have a conversation with, especially the people I sit before now. I've never been behind bars. You know what I'm saying? I say, but I have. I've never been behind, but I have, and you don't understand. And I even told my oldest son this yesterday because of a situation we dealing with right now with my son. I say, it's different for y'all because you didn't birth them. If you didn't birth them, then you don't experience the same level of pain that I do.
Like when a parent bury a child, if you've never buried a child,
you have no clue what that feels like. And so when I'm talking with somebody, because I've lost 2 nephews, right? I don't know what that feel like. So I don't know. I can't sit in that with you.
Yeah.
I can be here to support you, but I can't. But I know what it feel like to have a child in and out of prison. So I was sharing with, I even said to my daughter, like this thing is on, this is another thing about mothers, and fathers are important. But it's different. We know it's different, right?
Yeah.
And so I share with my daughter, I say, this thing with your brother is on my plate. And she talking about, well, why it's on your plate? I said, girl, because he my son.
Yeah.
Your ish on my plate.
Yeah.
Every one of y'all on my plate.
Yeah. Gonna always be.
And will always be. Like we don't take y'all off our plates because you get grown. So yeah. Man.
But we don't want to give him too much.
Yeah, I'm done.
We're gonna give him a reason to come back.
I'm done, man.
So we want to thank you for coming on, for sharing that.
Yeah.
For even what we witnessed, and it's just what we talked about earlier.
Woo. This my family here, y'all. Y'all don't know. They're my family. Yes, this my family.
You probably had them.
This my brother. What? For real. That's what they call him too.
But just
I appreciate y'all.
Thank you for what you brought.
Yeah.
Like I say, with any questions we may have had that we haven't vocalized with each other, you came through and you told us that we're on the right track.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And we're on the right track. And
I knew it the day I came in here.
Sometimes, you
you
lose
need
sight
that
of
confirmation.
that.
Yeah.
You lose sight of that. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for Prison Moms.
Yeah.
Thank you for being genuinely attracted to being.
Hey.
And like I say, those who weren't here, those who was here, we felt the hush. We used to call it the hush. I felt it when it settled.
Amen.
I felt it when it settled. And I know when that settles in the room, something is birthed.
Amen.
And each of us together, individually, collectively, I don't know what happened, but stay tuned. It's gonna be more. Felons Ain't Failures Podcast, along with the Miss Beautiful, Wonderful Miss Kenya Allen.
Thank
you. We appreciate y'all. Peace. We love y'all.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go!